everybody, welcome, Humor Mill TV. Frank Holder here, publisher, sitting here with Miss Ellia English. How are you?
Hi Frank, I'm great. How are you today?
I'm sure you've known her because you've seen her on Curb Your Enthusiasm, the Jamie Foxx Show, and you've seen her on a lot of TV and a lot of film. But we wanted to sit down and get a chance to talk to her about a lot of her projects in the past and most importantly, her things in the future. Yay. So let's jump right into it.
Okay.
First thing I want to ask you is, the Jamie Foxx Show is one of those iconic shows that people definitely have seen, and they've seen you. That seemed like to be the road work into doing a lot of things that you're doing in comedy. How did you even, first of all, how did you even land the show? Let's get to that.
Oh my goodness, that's a great story. It was it was a big call. It was a big casting call. And I remember I went in and I was kind of like the youngest actually actress to be up for the role. But I went in and I remembered after I got my callback after callback after callback, I had taken this picture of myself that looked like a granny when I had done a press ad for someone, and so I took that picture in and said, look guys, I can look much older than this, and I'm telling you. And they let me come in and I got to read with Jamie. It was over after that. I mean, we started just gelling together and working together, and I loved working with him because it was like being on a roller coaster that was a fun ride, and all you had to do was just take that ride with him.
So about your comedic timing, are you a comic? Do you stand up? You practice stand up? Because your comic timing in that and other shows was almost impeccable.
You know, I thought about doing comedy stand-up, but I've not done it. It's just that I've been making my family laugh ever since I was little. Also, just making friends. When you wanted to like get friends at school, if you made them laugh, you could always have some friends.
Right.
And then I did theater. The one thing about musical theater, you really got to know timing and you got to know comedy, because a lot of the musical theater has like these lines that are like ba-dum-bum, but if you don't land the line, you don't land the laugh. And that's where I really started with my comedic timing, was in theater. And so television wasn't that hard of a transition to go from theater to television and do comedy.
Right. Well, speaking of comedy and television and theater, what's your preference? I mean, because I've looked at your bio, you've done a lot. I mean, what's your preference?
Frank, you know, it's hard to pick one because it's like, and I always say this and I'll say it over and over again, doing each piece for me is like when I do exercise. It's like I love to bike, I love to run on the treadmill, and I like swimming. To which one, each one works a different set of muscles for you as an actor and as a, you know, your body. So I love doing each one because of the different muscles and the opportunity that I get to work those, exercise those muscles in my acting skills. So I haven't been able to pick one that I love the most, but live theater, you can't beat live theater. And then the next thing to it is television when you have a live audience.
Right.
It's almost like doing live theater. Sometimes you just have to pull it back for the camera. You don't have to reach that, you know, 2,000 seat back there in the back. Right. So, but it's all the same. And then the beauty of film is that you get an opportunity to just be intimate, like you and I are here just having a conversation.
Right.
So I love doing them all.
Yeah. You know, that's funny you even say that too, because a lot of things you've done, you've been introduced to certain types of audience. You've got the black audience, you've got the white audience, and you've been introduced to both. I think Curb Your Enthusiasm took you to a whole nother level with a whole nother audience.
It certainly did.
What was your experience about with that?
Oh my goodness. Now the beauty about Curb Your Enthusiasm was that it was all ad-lib. They didn't really give us a script. They gave us a story idea of what they wanted the scene to be about. And then we would start the scene in rehearsals, and most of the time we would say things like yada yada yada, ba 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 ba. We would never say the dialogues. And then once they said action, it would just come. And working with Larry David was incredible. You talk about someone with just impeccable timing, and the beauty of it is, if you want to feel good about what you're doing or know that you're at least hitting the mark, if you can get Larry to laugh, you know you might be doing something good. And I remember him cracking up a couple of times, and we'd have to start the scene over. So that was wonderful to experience. And it was slightly, but I've been prepared for it, because even though the Jamie Foxx Show was scripted, we got an opportunity to go off book a lot and just ad-lib, and usually it was those ad-lib scenes that would make the cut when it would air. So it was kind of like my, I guess, training ground to be able to do Curb Your Enthusiasm, where it was just ad-lib all the way, and that was a great experience. And you're right, it created a totally different audience for myself, as well as brought them together. You know, the black audience, which is the majority of audience that watch the Jamie Foxx Show, and mostly the Caucasian audiences, but it brought a huge black audience to Curb Your Enthusiasm, so that was great.
Well, let's jump off the book a little bit.
Let's jump off the book.
I know you had looking at doing things offset, like maybe filming some stuff behind the scenes. And
Right,
producing and things like
absolutely.
that. Can you tell us about some of the projects that you might have working? Can you talk about it?
Well, some of them right now, I should look over and go, can I talk about it, Gerald? But, you know, because some of them are still in works. But one project that I have to tell you about, a whole different audience that I have, is now I'm on Disney. And I do a recurring role called Mary Lou Wentz on Good Luck Charlie. And that audience is from age 3 to 15. And it's so totally awesome. Not audience, totally awesome. And it has a mixture. It definitely comes with the white and the black. And it's a beautiful thing. And some of the kids are like, we love you on Good Luck Charlie, but we also watch you on the Jamie Foxx Show.
Wow.
So it's so wonderful to hear that. Now, back to the question that you asked me about new projects. One thing I'm working on outside of what I do now in theater, in film and acting, I love kids. And I always love to give back and work with kids. So right now I'm going into the educational system and talking to our children because it's most important. My rule has always been, Ellia's rules, stay in school. And then you have a theme, it's Ellia's theme, follow your dream. But do get that education. And we've got so many kids that they don't even make it through high school. And I'm hoping that if I can tap into them at the beginning, in that development stage, to give them a love for learning, a love for literacy, that they'll make it all the way through. And then they can be whatever it is that they want to be.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. That's amazing. Well, I want to wrap this up. Okay. Tell everybody what you got coming out, because I saw a lot of films that you have where, like, Comics Open. I saw that coming.
That's right, Comics Open.
Can we talk about that?
Well, that's what I was going to ask Gerald, but since you brought it up, we can. Now, I haven't filmed my scenes yet, but they began to work on Comics Open. But we did this great press junket for me, and I did some filming in that. So I'm going to be working with Comics Open with Paul. Hi, Paul. And Gerald is producing it and what have you, but what have you. But we've got a couple of other projects that I'm trying to work on that we still are coming down the pipe. I'm writing some stuff myself and ready to produce some things, a theatrical piece and a film piece, and working on getting my own television show.
There you go.
That's what I'm working on. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I'm singing. So I'm trying to get my CD finished. I know, I've told you guys, That's What Faith Is, you gotta believe it, which is already on iTunes, but I'm gonna do a remix of that for the CD when it comes out. So hopefully by 2013, I'm not even gonna set a month, guys, I'm just gonna surprise you. I'll have that album finished.
Now tell everybody out there where they can follow you. You got Twitter, Facebook?
Oh, that's right, I do have Facebook, and you can follow me on Facebook on I Am That I Am. So you gotta put it together though, it's I Am That I Am. That's where you'll find Ellia English on Facebook. And I'm working on my Twitter account, and I still have my website. You can definitely follow me on www.elliaenglish.com. And I try to keep that updated. So today, because I've told you to go look, I'm gonna go in and put down the things that I'm doing, because I've been working on a lot of theatrical projects also with Don B. Welch, which is wonderful. I love, isn't he awesome? So I love definitely letting you guys know when I'm gonna be working with him again. So I'm leaving town first, and then I'm telling the world where I'm going. But then I'll be back, and then I'll be working again on some of the great projects.
Well, thank you for taking out the time. We greatly appreciate it. And we're big fans.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Frank.
Humor Mill TV, Frank Holder here. Stay tuned.